Anna woke to sunlight streaming through the windows and the smell of coffee. For a moment, she didn't remember where she was. Her apartment didn't get this kind of light, didn't smell this good, and then memory crashed back in. The office. The documents. The photographs. She'd actually done it. She stretched carefully, her muscles protesting. Apparently running for your life and then breaking into a criminal's office building created tension in places she didn't know she had places. The envelope of cash had fallen onto the floor during the night, and she picked it up, staring at it in the morning light like it might disappear if she looked away. It was real. All of it was real. There was a soft knock on the door, and Mrs. Huang's voice called, "Breakfast is ready whenever you are, dear." Anna showered quickly. She was getting used to the ridiculously nice bathroom, which probably wasn't a good sign, and dressed in clothes that had appeared in the closet at some point. More leggings, a soft blue sweater, everything perfectly her size. She was trying not to think too hard about how Seo Jun's organization seemed to anticipate her every need before she realized she had it. Welcome back, family. If you enjoyed part 1 of Anna and Seo Jun's story, you're going to love what happens next. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single twist, and drop a comment telling me what you think is going to happen. Will they survive what's coming? Let's find out together. Now, let's continue. The dining area was set with enough food for a small army. Mrs. Huang bustled around, arranging dishes with the focused energy of someone who expressed love through feeding people. "You need your strength," she said when Anna protested that she couldn't possibly eat all this. "You've been under tremendous stress. Your body needs fuel." Seo Jun was already there, sitting at the head of the table with a tablet in one hand and a cup of coffee in the other. He looked up when Anna entered, and something in his expression made her pause. "Good morning," he said. "I hope you slept well. Better than I expected." Anna sat down, accepting the plate Mrs. Huang immediately loaded with food. "You look like you've been up for hours." "I have." He set down the tablet. "I've been reviewing the documents you photographed, making calls, setting things in motion. And it's even better than I hoped." Seo Jun's eyes held a gleam of satisfaction that was slightly unsettling. Volkov was sloppy, arrogant. He kept records of everything. Probably because he thought he was untouchable. "We have evidence of money laundering, smuggling operations, bribes to city officials, connections to 3 unsolved murders. It's a prosecutor's dream." Anna set down her chopsticks, her appetite suddenly gone. 3 murders. That we can prove from these documents. There are probably more. Seo Jun's voice was matter-of-fact. "Volkov has been operating in this city for 15 years. Bodies accumulate." The casual way he said it made Anna's stomach turn. She knew, intellectually, that she was sitting across from a criminal. That Seo Jun ran an organization that probably had its own body count. But hearing it stated so plainly, with breakfast on the table and morning sunlight making everything look peaceful, it created a cognitive dissonance she couldn't quite resolve. "You're looking at me like I'm a monster," Seo Jun observed. "I'm trying to figure out what you are," Anna admitted. "I'm pragmatic." He took a sip of coffee. "I operate in a world where violence is a currency and reputation is everything. But I have rules. I don't kill civilians. I don't involve children. I don't work with human traffickers or anyone who deals in that particular kind of misery. Within the constraints of my profession, I try to be ethical." "Ethical crime," Anna said. "That's an oxymoron." "Perhaps. But it's also reality." Seo Jun leaned back in his chair. "Volkov has no rules. He'll work with anyone, hurt anyone, as long as it serves his purposes. That's why he needs to be stopped. Not by me, I'm not a vigilante. But by the system such as it is." "So you're turning over the evidence?" "This afternoon. I have a contact in the FBI, a woman who's been trying to build a case against Volkov for 3 years. She'll know what to do with this." He paused. "Which means you need to be prepared for what comes next." Anna's hands tightened on her cup. "What comes next?" "Volkov will know within 48 hours that the FBI is investigating him. He'll know they have evidence, real evidence, enough to bring charges. He won't know where it came from initially, but he'll figure it out eventually. Seo Jun's gaze was steady. When he does, he'll come looking for revenge. Not at you, you're under my protection and he knows better. But he'll come at me. Will there be a war? Anna asked quietly. Probably not. Wars are expensive and draw attention. But there will be tension, negotiations, possibly some targeted violence to make points. He said it like he was discussing the weather. The important thing is that you stay here where it's safe until everything settles. How long will that take? Weeks. Maybe months. Seo Jun studied her face. I know this isn't what you signed up for. You wanted safety and a way out, not an extended stay in a gilded cage. But until Volkov is neutralized completely, arrested, imprisoned, or convinced that retaliating isn't worth the cost, you're still in danger. Anna thought about her tiny apartment, her suspended job, her life that had been small but at least predictable. That person felt like someone else now. Someone who existed in a different lifetime. I don't have a choice, she said. You always have choices, Seo Jun replied. But yes, in this case, the alternatives are all worse. Mrs. Huang appeared with more coffee, refilling cups and clucking disapprovingly at Anna's barely touched plate. You need to eat, dear. Can't face the day on an empty stomach. Anna forced herself to take a few bites, if only to make Mrs. Huang happy. The older woman beamed and patted her shoulder before disappearing back into the kitchen. She's adopted you, Seo Jun said with something that might have been amusement. Once Mrs. Huang decides someone needs taking care of, their family. You should feel honored. She only does this for people she actually likes. How many people work for you? Anna asked. I mean, besides June and Mrs. Huang. Directly. About 30. Indirectly. A few hundred. Seo Jun tilted his head. Why do you ask? I'm trying to understand the scope of this. Of what you do. I run several legitimate businesses. Restaurants, import-export companies, a construction firm. Those employ most of the people on my payroll. The illegal operations are smaller, more specialized. Protection services, information brokering, some smuggling. Nothing that hurts civilians, nothing that crosses my ethical lines. He smiled slightly. I know you don't believe I have ethical lines, but I do. They're just different from yours. Anna considered this. And everyone who works for you knows what they're part of? The ones who need to know, yes. The restaurant hostesses and construction workers think they work for a successful Korean-American businessman. They're not wrong, they just don't know about the rest. Seo Jun set down his coffee cup. Compartmentalization keeps people safe. The less they know, the less danger they're in. Is that why you keep explaining things to me? Because I'm already in danger anyway. Partially. Seo Jun's expression was hard to read. But also because I think you deserve to understand the world you've fallen into. You didn't choose this, but you're handling it better than most people would. That earns you honesty. It was, Anna realized, a strange kind of respect. And coming from someone like Seo Jun, it meant something. The day stretched out in a strange suspended state. Anna tried to read, but couldn't focus. She tried watching television, but everything felt trivial compared to what was happening in the real world. She ended up helping Mrs. Huang in the kitchen, learning to make kimchi from scratch, a process that involved much more fermentation and patience than Anna had expected. Cooking is meditation, Mrs. Huang explained, showing Anna how to massage the spice mixture into the Napa cabbage. When your mind is troubled, your hands need work. It helped. The repetitive motion, the sharp smell of garlic and gochugaru, the simple satisfaction of creating something. It all helped quiet the anxiety that had been building since she woke up. June appeared in the afternoon, looking for Seo Jun. He found Anna in the kitchen instead, up to her elbows in kimchi. Domestic life suits you, he said with a rare smile. I'm going crazy with nothing to do, Anna replied. Mrs. Huang took pity on me. Mr. Seo left an hour ago to deliver the evidence. He should be back by evening. June grabbed a piece of radish kimchi from a completed jar, earning a swat from Mrs. Huang. In the meantime, I'm supposed to make sure you don't do anything stupid like try to leave or contact people from your old life. Where would I go? Anna asked. My apartment's being watched, I have no friends to crash with, and apparently the Russian mob wants me dead. I'm not that stupid. Good. June settled onto a stool at the kitchen island. Then you won't mind if I keep you company. Over the next few hours, Anna learned more about June than she'd expected. He'd grown up in Los Angeles, second-generation Korean American, joined the Army right out of high school. Did 2 tours in Afghanistan as a combat medic before getting out and drifting for a while, unsure what to do with himself in civilian life. I met Mr. Seo at a restaurant, June said. I was working security, minimum wage, bored out of my mind. Some drunk asshole decided to start a fight, and I handled it. Professionally, efficiently, no unnecessary damage. Mr. Seo was having dinner there. He saw the whole thing. Offered me a job before I finished my shift. And you said yes. I said I'd think about it. Then I went home to my crappy apartment and thought about how I'd spent 4 years learning to protect people and was now spending my nights dealing with drunk frat boys. By morning, I'd decided. June shrugged. Best decision I ever made. Mr. Seo pays well, treats his people with respect, and the work is never boring. Doesn't it bother you? Anna asked quietly. Working for? I mean, doing illegal things. June was quiet for a moment. I spent 2 tours in a war that didn't make sense, following orders that got good people killed for reasons that had nothing to do with protecting anyone. I came home to a country that said thank you for your service and then offered me nothing but minimum wage jobs and PTSD. He met her eyes. Mr. Seo takes care of his people. He has rules. He doesn't pretend he's doing God's work or protecting freedom. He's honest about what he is. After the Army, that honesty meant something to me. Anna understood that better than she wanted to admit. She'd spent years working minimum wage jobs for people who looked through her like she was invisible, who paid her barely enough to survive and acted like she should be grateful for the opportunity. At least Seo Jun saw her. At least he was honest about the exchange. Your help for my protection, your skills for my resources. There was a strange integrity in that. Seo Jun returned as the sun was setting, painting the penthouse in shades of gold and amber. Anna had retreated to the living area with a book she still wasn't reading, and she looked up when she heard the door open. He looked tired but satisfied, like someone who'd just completed a difficult task successfully. His tie was loosened, his jacket slung over one arm, and there were shadows under his eyes that suggested he'd been running on coffee and determination for too long. It's done, he said, dropping into the chair across from her. The FBI has everything. They're already moving on it. Warrants, asset freezes, the works. Volkov's going to wake up tomorrow to discover his world is on fire. Will they arrest him? Eventually. These things take time. Prosecutors have to build cases, coordinate with multiple agencies. But they have enough to make his life extremely difficult. Seo Jun's smile was sharp. And while he's dealing with federal investigations, he won't have time or resources to come after me. Or you. Anna set down her book. So I'm safe. Safer. Seo Jun corrected. Not safe. Probably never completely safe again if I'm being honest. But safer than you were a week ago. A week, Anna repeated. It's only been a week. Time moves differently in crisis. He leaned his head back against the chair, closing his eyes. You did well, Ms. Chambers. Better than well. You may have just prevented a murder and dismantled a criminal organization. That's not a bad week's work. I was just trying not to die. Sometimes that's enough. He opened his eyes, looking at her directly. The FBI agent I met with, Agent Sarah Chen, she asked about the source of the information. I told her it came from an anonymous contact, someone inside Volkov's organization who wanted out. She didn't believe me, but she couldn't prove otherwise. Why would she not believe you? Because Sarah's smart, and she knows I don't usually help federal investigators out of the goodness of my heart. Seo Jun smiled slightly. But she also knows not to look gift horses in the mouth. She'll use the evidence, build her case, and pretend she doesn't know where it really came from. And if Volkov figures it out, then we'll deal with that when it happens. Seo-jun stood, rolling his shoulders like they ached. For tonight, we celebrate. Mrs. Huang is making a feast. She's been cooking all day. You should come eat with me. Consider it a reward for not fainting during the important parts. Despite everything, Anna laughed. You're never going to let me forget that, are you? Probably not. He offered his hand to help her up from the couch. It's one of your more endearing qualities. Anna took his hand. His grip was warm and strong, calloused in a way that suggested he didn't just give orders but knew how to fight, and let him pull her to her feet. For just a moment, they stood close enough that she could smell his cologne, could see the flecks of gold in his dark eyes, could feel the warmth radiating from him. Then he stepped back, the moment broken, professional distance reasserting itself. Come on, he said. Mrs. Huang gets offended if people are late to dinner. The meal was indeed a feast. Mrs. Huang had outdone herself. Bulgogi, japchae, various banchan, homemade mandu, and a stew that smelled like heaven. June joined them, and for a few hours, the penthouse felt almost normal. They ate and talked about nothing important. June's failed attempts at dating, Mrs. Huang's grandson who was applying to medical schools, Seo-jun's opinion on the new Korean drama everyone was watching. Anna found herself relaxing in a way she hadn't in days. The food was delicious, the company was surprisingly comfortable, and for a little while she could almost forget that this was all temporary. That she was still, fundamentally, a prisoner in a gilded cage. After dinner, Seo-jun asked her to join him in his study. The room was different at night, all the harsh edges softened by lamplight. He poured 2 glasses of whiskey, expensive stuff, amber and smooth, and handed her one. To survival, he said, raising his glass. To survival, Anna echoed, and they drank. The whiskey burned pleasantly going down, warming her from the inside out. I've been thinking about your next steps, Seo-jun said, settling into his desk chair. The new identity, the relocation. We should start planning specifics. Anna's heart sank. She'd known this was coming, had known from the beginning that the end goal was to disappear, to start over somewhere else. But somehow, sitting in this study with whiskey in her hand and Seo-jun watching her with those dark eyes, the reality of leaving felt more complicated than it should have. Where would I go? She asked. That's up to you. West Coast. Maybe Seattle or Portland. Far enough from here that Volkov's people wouldn't think to look. Or we could go international. Toronto, Vancouver. Somewhere with good infrastructure, opportunities for starting over. And I'd just disappear? New name, new history, new everything. That's how it works. Seo-jun swirled the whiskey in his glass. It's not easy, you'd have to be careful, avoid social media, never contact anyone from your old life. But you'd be free. Safe. Alone, Anna added quietly. Seo-jun was silent for a moment. Yes, he admitted. Alone. Anna stared into her whiskey, watching the light refract through the amber liquid. What if I don't want to disappear? Ms. Chambers. Anna, she interrupted. If we're planning my future, you can call me Anna. Anna, then. Seo-jun leaned forward. What are you saying? I don't know, she admitted. This past week has been the most terrifying experience of my life. But it's also been the first time in years that I've felt like I mattered. Like what I did had consequences, had meaning. Going back to cleaning houses, to being invisible. I don't know if I can do that anymore. You want to stay in this world? Seo-jun's voice was carefully neutral. Anna, this isn't a movie. This life isn't glamorous. It's dangerous and morally complicated, and most people who choose it end up dead or in prison. I know. Anna met his eyes. But at least I'd be choosing it. For the first time in my life, I'd be choosing something instead of just surviving what happens to me. Seo-jun studied her for a long moment, his expression unreadable. What exactly are you proposing? I don't know, Anna said honestly. But you said I did well. That I was good at being invisible, at moving through spaces without being noticed. That has value, doesn't it? In your world. It does. Then maybe I don't have to disappear completely. Maybe I could work for you. Not forever, not as a permanent thing, but... She struggled to articulate what she was feeling. I'm tired of being powerless. I'm tired of just surviving. If I'm going to start over anyway, why not start over as someone who actually has agency? Seo Jun was quiet for so long that Anna thought he was going to refuse. Then, slowly, he smiled. You're either very brave or very stupid, he said. I haven't decided which. Can't it be both? He laughed. A real laugh, surprised and genuine. Mrs. Huang was right. You're more interesting than I gave you credit for. Is that a yes? It's a we'll see. Seo Jun finished his whiskey. You've proven you can handle pressure, but one successful operation doesn't make you ready for this life. If you're serious, if you really want to do this, then we start small. Training, small jobs, see how you handle it. If you still want this in 3 months, if you're still alive and not traumatized beyond repair, then we talk about making it permanent. Anna's heart was racing. You're serious. I'm pragmatic, Seo Jun corrected. You're an asset, Anna. A good one. And good assets are worth investing in. His expression turned serious. But understand this. If you choose this path, there's no going back. You can't decide in 2 months that you want a normal life after all. Once you're in, you're in. The things you'll see, the things you'll do, they'll change you. Make sure that's really what you want. Anna thought about her old life. The endless cycle of work and exhaustion, of being invisible and powerless, of measuring her worth by how little space she took up in the world. She thought about the envelope of cash hidden in her room, about the feeling of photographing those documents, about the satisfaction of knowing she'd helped prevent a murder. She thought about Seo Jun watching her with something that might have been respect. I'm sure, she said. Then welcome to the game, Anna Chambers. Seo Jun raised his empty glass in a mock toast. Try to survive the tutorial level. Hold up, subscribe first. Then comment your location. Now brace yourself. This story is about to explode. Training started the next morning at 6 a.m., which Anna decided was unnecessarily cruel. June woke her by pounding on the door with the enthusiasm of someone who'd been awake for hours and felt everyone else should suffer accordingly. Up and dressed in 5 minutes. Wear comfortable clothes. We're going to the gym. Anna groaned and buried her face in the pillow. I didn't sign up for boot camp. Yes, you did. Last night. With whiskey. June's voice was annoyingly cheerful. Mr. Seo doesn't employ people who can't protect themselves. So, gym. 5 minutes. She made it in 7, stumbling out in leggings and a t-shirt that had appeared in her closet. Everything always appeared in her closet, like there was a clothing fairy on Seo Jun's payroll, to find June waiting with 2 travel mugs of coffee. Bless you, Anna said, accepting one gratefully. Don't thank me yet. You're going to hate me in about an hour. The gym was in the building's basement, a private facility that apparently came with the penthouse. It was all gleaming equipment and mirrored walls and the faint smell of disinfectant and sweat. June led her to a padded mat area in the corner. Self-defense basics, he announced. If you're going to work in this world, you need to know how to handle yourself when things go wrong. When things go wrong, Anna repeated. Not if. Optimism is dangerous in our line of work. June set down his coffee and rolled his shoulders. Now, first rule. Forget everything you've seen in movies. Real fights are fast, dirty, and usually over in seconds. Your goal isn't to win, it's to create an opportunity to escape. Over the next 2 hours, June taught Anna things she'd never imagined needing to know. How to break someone's grip on her wrist. Where to strike to cause maximum pain with minimum effort. How to use her size, smaller, lower center of gravity, as an advantage rather than a weakness. How to scream effectively to startle an attacker and draw attention. She fell. A lot. Her muscles burned. She was pretty sure she'd have bruises in places she didn't know could bruise. But she also started to understand something. She wasn't helpless. Her body, which she'd spent years teaching to be small and unobtrusive, Could be a weapon if she needed it to be. Good, June said after she successfully executed a move that sent him stumbling backward. You're a fast learner. Most people freeze up their first week. I've had recent experience with life-threatening situations, Anna said dryly, breathing hard. It's motivating. They were taking a water break when Seo Jun appeared, dressed in workout clothes that made it very clear he didn't spend all his time behind a desk. He watched them for a moment, arms crossed, expression thoughtful. How's she doing? He asked June. Better than expected. Good instincts, doesn't panic. June grinned. She might actually survive. Might, Anna muttered. Such confidence. Seo Jun's mouth quirked. Physical training is only part of it. June will teach you to defend yourself. I'll teach you everything else. Everything else? Anna asked warily. How to read people. How to lie convincingly. How to gather information without anyone realizing that's what you're doing. He moved onto the mat, circling her with the predatory grace of someone who knew exactly how dangerous he was. You already know how to be invisible, that's valuable. But you also need to know how to be memorable when it serves a purpose. How to make people underestimate you, trust you, tell you things they shouldn't. You're going to teach me to be a spy, Anna said. I'm going to teach you to survive in a world where information is currency and everyone is always lying. Seo Jun stopped in front of her. Starting now. Tell me something true about yourself. Anna blinked. What? Something true. Something real. Go. Anna fumbled. I don't understand what you want. That's the problem. You're already overthinking it. Seo Jun's eyes were sharp. When someone asks you a question, your first instinct shouldn't be to figure out what they want to hear. It should be to understand what you're willing to reveal. So, tell me something true. Anna took a breath. I'm scared. All the time. Ever since that night, I've been terrified, but I'm doing it anyway because being scared and powerless is worse than being scared and doing something about it. Seo Jun nodded slowly. Good. That was honest. I believe you. He tilted his head. Now lie to me. Tell me you're not scared. Anna straightened her shoulders, forced confidence into her voice. I'm not scared. I know what I'm doing, and I'm ready for whatever comes next. Terrible, Seo Jun said immediately. Your body language contradicts everything you just said. Your shoulders tensed, your eyes shifted left, and your voice went up half an octave. Anyone paying attention would know you're lying. Then how do I make it believable? You believe it yourself, at least in the moment. Seo Jun moved closer. When you lie, you can't think of it as lying. You think of it as telling a different truth, one that serves your purposes better. You inhabit the lie completely. Watch. His entire posture changed, softened, became almost vulnerable. When he spoke again, his voice carried weight of genuine emotion. I'm afraid of losing control, of making the wrong call and getting people killed. It keeps me awake most nights. Anna stared. She couldn't tell if he was lying or not. It sounded completely authentic. Was that true or false? Seo Jun asked, his posture shifting back to its usual controlled confidence. I have no idea. Exactly. He smiled. That's the goal. Make them uncertain. Make them believe because you believe, even if only for the duration of the conversation. Jun, watching from the sidelines, shook his head. This is why no one plays poker with you, boss. No one plays poker with me because I always win. Seo Jun turned back to Anna. Your turn. Tell me a lie like it's the truth. Anything. Doesn't matter what. Just make me believe it. Anna thought for a moment, then let her expression shift into something softer, almost wistful. I had a cat when I was growing up. Orange tabby named Marmalade. He used to sleep on my pillow and wake me up by putting his paw on my face. I still miss him sometimes. Seo Jun studied her face. I believe the emotion, but the details are too specific. Real memories are usually fuzzier. You remember feelings more than facts. And you said marmalade like you were testing how it sounded, not like you'd said it 1,000 times before. I never had a cat, Anna admitted. My mom was allergic. But you wanted one. How did you? The wistfulness was real. You built the lie around a true emotion, wanting a pet you couldn't have. That's smart. That's how you make lies stick. Seo Jun looked satisfied. You have good instincts. We can work with this. The days that followed fell into a rhythm that was exhausting but strangely satisfying. Mornings with June in the gym, learning to fight and fall and get back up. Afternoons with Seo Jun, learning to read micro-expressions and control her own, to notice details other people missed, to remember conversations word for word. Observation is everything, Seo Jun said during one session, walking her through security footage from various businesses he owned. Tell me what you see. Anna studied the screen, a restaurant, customers and staff moving through their evening. A man at table 7 is having an argument with his date. She keeps looking at her phone. The waiter near the bar is pocketing tips instead of putting them in the shared jar. The couple by the window just got engaged. He's nervous, she's crying happy tears. Good. What else? Anna looked closer. The man at the bar alone. He's been nursing the same drink for 40 minutes. He keeps watching the door. He's waiting for someone. Or watching for someone, Seo Jun corrected. 2 days after this footage was taken, that restaurant was robbed. The man at the bar was casing it, timing the staff routines, looking for weaknesses. He paused the footage. Now, what did you miss? Anna scanned the screen again. I don't. The camera. The man never looks directly at it, but he's aware of where it is. See how he angles his body. How he keeps his face partially obscured. Seo Jun zoomed in on the figure. Professional criminals know where cameras are. They avoid them instinctively. That's your tell. Someone who's too carefully not looking at something is usually the person you need to watch. Anna absorbed this, adding it to the growing catalog of information Seo Jun was cramming into her head. How to spot an undercover cop. How to recognize when someone was armed. How to use reflections in windows and mirrors to watch people without turning around. How to memorize license plates and faces. How to know when a situation was about to turn violent and how to position herself near exits. It was like learning a new language, one where every gesture and expression carried weight. Mrs. Huang watched Anna's transformation with maternal pride, making sure she ate enough to fuel her training and occasionally ordering her to rest when she looked too exhausted. You're working very hard, she said one afternoon, finding Anna in the kitchen making tea. Mr. Seo is pleased with your progress. He told me so. He did. Anna was surprised. Seo Jun wasn't particularly effusive with praise. Oh yes. He said you learn quickly and don't complain. Mrs. Huang smiled. That's high praise from him. He has high standards. I've noticed. Anna poured hot water over the tea leaves. Can I ask you something, Mrs. Huang? Of course, dear. How long have you worked for him? 12 years. Since he was just starting out, barely more than a boy himself. Mrs. Huang's expression turned fond. He came to this country with nothing but determination and a gift for seeing opportunities others missed. Built everything from scratch. The businesses, the organization, the respect. He's done things I don't ask about, things I'm sure I wouldn't approve of. But he's also saved lives, helped people who had nowhere else to turn. He's more complicated than he seems. Aren't we all? Anna murmured. True. But most people's complications don't involve federal investigations and rival gangs. Mrs. Huang patted Anna's hand. Just remember, Mr. Seo values loyalty above everything. Be loyal to him, and he'll protect you with everything he has. Betray him. She didn't finish the sentence. She didn't need to. 2 weeks into her training, Seo Jun called Anna into his study after dinner. I have a job for you, he said without preamble. Small, low risk. A test. Anna's pulse quickened. What kind of job? There's a lawyer named Richard Hendricks. He represents several of Volkov's associates. Helps them with their legal troubles, makes evidence disappear, that sort of thing. Volkov's probably using him right now to coordinate a defense against the FBI investigation. You want me to. I want you to get into his office and plant a listening device. Seo Jun pulled up photos on his computer. A law office in a downtown high-rise, floor plans, security details. Hendricks works late most nights. His building has standard security, card access, cameras in common areas, but the actual offices are less monitored. You'll go in as part of the cleaning crew. Again with the cleaning crew, Anna said. Is that going to be my permanent cover? It's effective. No one pays attention to cleaners. Seo Jun's eyes were serious. This is your chance to prove you can handle operational work. Jun will be with you for backup, but you'll be the one going in. Think you can do it. Anna thought about the last 2 weeks, everything she'd learned, all the skills she'd been acquiring. She thought about the person she'd been before all this started. Scared and powerless and invisible. She wasn't that person anymore. Yes, she said. I can do it. Good. Seo Jun stood and moved to a safe hidden behind a painting. Of course he had a safe hidden behind a painting, Anna thought with mild amusement. He pulled out a small device, no bigger than a coin. This is the bug. Magnetic backing, rechargeable battery that lasts 6 months. Broadcasts to a secure frequency we monitor. You'll place it somewhere in Hendricks' office. Under his desk, behind a picture frame, anywhere it won't be immediately visible. He handed it to Anna and she studied the tiny device. It was surprisingly light, innocuous. The kind of thing you could easily overlook. When? She asked. Tomorrow night. Hendricks always works late on Thursdays. Has a standing call with clients on the East Coast. The cleaning crew comes through at 10. You'll join them. Seo Jun's expression was unreadable. Anna, if anything feels wrong, if you get scared, you abort. No shame in that. This is a test, not a suicide mission. I won't faint, Anna said. I know. Seo Jun's mouth quirked. You've come a long way from the woman who collapsed in my arms. 2 weeks ago feels like a lifetime ago. That's because you're a different person now. He said it matter-of-factly, like it was simply an observable truth. The question is whether you like who you're becoming. Anna considered this. The old Anna, the one who cleaned houses and kept her head down and made herself small, would have been horrified by what she was about to do. Breaking into a lawyer's office, planting surveillance equipment, participating in criminal activity. But the old Anna had also been miserable. Powerless. Invisible. This Anna, the one who could throw a punch, who could lie convincingly, who was about to break into a lawyer's office. She was scared, yes. But she was also alive in a way she hadn't been in years. I think I do, Anna said quietly. Like who I'm becoming, I mean. Seo Jun nodded, something that might have been approval crossing his features. Then let's see if she can survive her first real mission. The next evening, Anna dressed in cleaning crew uniform again. Different company this time, different logo, but the same universal invisibility that came with service work. She met Jun in the garage, where a van identical to the legitimate cleaning company's vehicles waited. Remember, Jun said as they drove through evening traffic, you're nervous but competent. New employee trying to do a good job. If anyone asks questions, you're filling in for someone who called in sick. Don't volunteer information. Answer questions simply and move on. Anna nodded, her hands clenched in her lap. Her heart was racing, but it wasn't the same blind panic she'd felt running through the rain 2 weeks ago. This was focused anxiety, the kind that sharpened her senses rather than overwhelming them. She could do this. The office building was sleek glass and steel, the kind of place where lawyers and consultants worked late into the night, billing hours that would make normal people weep. Jun dropped her at the service entrance, where 3 other cleaners were already gathered, actual cleaners, not plants. Anna was the only infiltrator. The crew supervisor barely glanced at her ID, a forgery so perfect it had fooled the building's security system, before assigning her to the 14th floor. Offices 1400 through 1420. Standard cleaning. Don't bother anyone working late, just do the trash and surfaces quietly. Yes, ma'am, Anna said. channeling every ounce of deferential service worker energy she'd cultivated over years of actual cleaning work. The supervisor nodded, already dismissing her from attention. Anna rode the elevator up with another cleaner, an older Hispanic woman who looked like she'd been doing this job for decades and had long since stopped caring about anything beyond getting through her shift. They worked in companionable silence, the woman taking rooms 1400 to 1410, Anna assigned to 1410 to 1420. Richard Hendrick's office was 1417. The hallway was silent except for the distant hum of the HVAC system. Through some office windows, Anna could see lawyers still working, bent over documents, typing furiously, engaged in late-night calls. Through others, darkness and empty desks. Office 1417's lights were on. Anna's heart sank. If Hendricks was still there, she couldn't get in. She'd have to abort, come back another night, admit failure on her first real mission. But when she pushed her cleaning cart closer and glanced through the window in the door, the office was empty. Hendricks had left his lights on, sloppy, wasteful, but he wasn't there. Anna knocked softly, the protocol for cleaning crew checking if an office was occupied. No answer. She tried the door. Unlocked. Too easy, she muttered. Then remembered June could hear everything through the microphone concealed in her uniform. His voice came back immediately in her earpiece. Sometimes easy is just easy. Don't overthink it. Get in, plant the bug, get out. Anna pushed her cart into the office and closed the door behind her. Hendrick's office was exactly what she'd expected. Expensive furniture trying to look tasteful, framed diplomas on the walls proving credentials, a desk cluttered with legal briefs and coffee cups. The man was either very busy or very disorganized. Possibly both. She worked quickly, actually cleaning as she searched for the right spot for the bug. Under the desk was too obvious. Any competent sweep would find it immediately. Behind the framed diplomas was better, but she'd need to take them down, and that might be noticed. Then she saw it, a decorative pen holder on the credenza behind his desk. Heavy, ornate, the kind of thing that sat in an office for years without anyone really looking at it. Anna pulled out the magnetic bug and pressed it to the inside of the pen holder, where it would be invisible unless someone actually picked up the container and looked inside. The magnetic backing held firmly. Done, she whispered. Good, June's voice came back. Now finish cleaning and get out naturally. Don't rush. Anna forced herself to slow down, to actually empty the trash, wipe down surfaces, make it look like she'd been doing her job. She was halfway through when she heard voices in the hallway. Her blood turned to ice. Don't care what the FBI thinks they have, a man's voice said, getting closer. Without cooperation from the witnesses, their case falls apart. And if the witnesses don't cooperate? A second voice, younger, uncertain. Then they become witnesses to their own unfortunate accidents. The door handle turned. Anna didn't think, just moved on instinct, on 2 weeks of training with June, on hard-learned lessons about staying calm under pressure. She grabbed her cleaning supplies and moved toward the door just as it opened, nearly colliding with Richard Hendricks. Oh. She made her voice startled, apologetic, everything a flustered cleaner would be. I'm so sorry, sir. I didn't realize anyone was coming back. I can finish later. Hendricks, 50s, expensive suit, the kind of face that smiled with teeth but not eyes, waved her off impatiently. No, you're fine. I just need to grab something. 2 minutes. Anna nodded and tried to move past him, but the second man, younger, suit not quite as expensive, was blocking the doorway. She had to squeeze past, close enough to smell his cologne, close enough to see the gun holster under his jacket. Excuse me, she murmured, eyes down, playing the role of someone who desperately didn't want to be noticed. They let her pass without another glance. Anna pushed her cart down the hallway, her legs shaking so badly she was amazed she could walk. She didn't look back. Didn't run. Just moved at the steady, unhurried pace of someone finishing their shift and thinking about nothing more complicated than getting home. The older Hispanic cleaner nodded at her in the hallway. Finished already? Those offices were pretty clean already, Anna said. Not much to do. The woman snorted. Lucky you. I got 3 that look like tornadoes hit them. They rode the elevator down together, Anna's heart still pounding but her breathing steady. Just another cleaner at the end of another shift. Nothing to see here. June was waiting in the van, and the moment Anna climbed in, he pulled away from the curb smoothly, professionally, giving no indication that anything unusual had just happened. They drove in silence for 3 blocks before June spoke. You did good. Really good. When Hendricks came back early, you didn't panic. I nearly had a heart attack, Anna said. But you didn't show it. That's what matters. June glanced at her in the rearview mirror. The bug's working. We're already picking up signal. Mr. CO will be pleased. Anna leaned her head back against the seat and closed her eyes, letting the adrenaline slowly drain from her system. She'd done it. Her first real mission, and she'd actually done it. Maybe she really could survive in this world. CO June was waiting in his study when they returned, and the look on his face when Anna walked in told her he'd been listening to the whole thing through the surveillance equipment. Well done, he said simply. 2 words, but the weight of approval behind them made Anna's chest tighten with something that might have been pride. The bug's in place, she confirmed. Hendricks came back early, but he didn't notice anything. I know. I heard. CO June gestured to the chair across from his desk. Sit. We should talk about what you heard. Anna sat, and June joined them, closing the study door behind him. Hendricks was talking about witnesses, CO June said. About making them have unfortunate accidents. That's not just Volkov's lawyer talking. That's someone actively involved in witness intimidation, possibly conspiracy to commit murder. The FBI should know, Anna said immediately. They will. We'll make sure recordings of his conversations find their way to Agent Chen. CO June's expression was calculating. But this also confirms something I suspected. Volkov is getting desperate. The FBI investigation is hurting him more than he's letting on. Desperate men make mistakes. Desperate men also lash out, June added. We should increase security. Already done. CO June's eyes flicked to Anna. Which brings me to my next point. You've proven yourself capable, Anna. More than capable. But the game is about to escalate. Volkov's going to push back against the pressure, and that means increased danger for anyone associated with me. I'm not backing out, Anna said before he could finish. If that's what you're suggesting. I'm not suggesting anything. I'm making sure you understand what you're choosing. CO June leaned forward. From here, things get more complicated. More dangerous. You've been in a relatively controlled environment. Training. One carefully planned mission with backup. Real operational work is messier. More unpredictable. I know. Do you? CO June's gaze was intense. Because there's still time to take the original offer. New identity, new city, money to start over. You'd be safe, Anna. Truly safe. Anna thought about safety. About the small life she'd had before, the one that had felt like slowly suffocating. About the person she'd been 2 weeks ago, and the person she was becoming. I don't want safe, she said quietly. I want to matter. Something shifted in CO June's expression. Respect, maybe, or recognition. Then welcome to the deep end. Try not to drown. June laughed. That's the warmest welcome speech I've ever heard you give. I'm feeling sentimental. CO June's mouth quirked. Don't get used to it. But as Anna left the study, she caught him watching her with an expression she couldn't quite read. It wasn't just approval or professional satisfaction. It was something more complicated than that. Something that made her pulse quicken for reasons that had nothing to do with danger. Hold up, subscribe first. Then comment your location. Now brace yourself. This story is about to explode. The bug in Hendricks' office paid dividends within 48 hours. Anna was in the kitchen with Mrs. Huang, learning to make proper Korean fried chicken. Double fried for maximum crispiness, Mrs. Huang insisted. When CO June appeared in the doorway with his laptop. You need to hear this, he said. They gathered in the study. Anna, CO June, and listened to a recording from Hendricks' office. The lawyer's voice was clear, annoyed, talking to someone on speakerphone. Telling you, the FBI has documentation we didn't know existed. Financial records. shipping manifests, communications. Someone gave them everything. A second voice, heavily accented. Volkov. Find out who. We're working on it. But whoever it was had access to your office systems. That narrows the list considerably. Then narrow it further. I want names by Monday. The recording continued, more discussion of legal strategy, of witnesses who needed to be convinced to reconsider their testimony, of money being moved to accounts the FBI couldn't track. When it ended, Seo Jun closed the laptop. Volkov knows someone inside his organization betrayed him. He's hunting for the leak. Will he find out it was me? Anna asked, keeping her voice steady despite the fear coiling in her stomach. Eventually, maybe. But not immediately. He's looking for someone with digital access to his systems. An accountant, a manager, someone in his inner circle. A maid who overheard a conversation. Seo Jun shook his head. That won't occur to him until he's exhausted other options. So I have time. We have time, Seo Jun corrected. To finish this properly. Over the next week, the bug captured enough conversations to build a comprehensive picture of Volkov's organization. Names, connections, operations. Seo Jun passed carefully edited recordings to Agent Chen, always through intermediaries, always untraceable. Anna watched as the noose tightened. News reports started appearing about a major FBI investigation into organized crime at the harbor. Assets were frozen. Associates were arrested. Volkov's empire wasn't crumbling, not yet, but it was definitely under siege. And through it all, Anna continued training. June taught her to pick locks, to hotwire cars, to recognize surveillance and shake a tail. Seo Jun taught her to read financial documents, to understand the structure of criminal organizations, to think 3 moves ahead. You're a natural at this, June said one afternoon after she'd successfully broken into a practice safe in under 2 minutes. It's honestly a little scary. I spent years being invisible, Anna replied, resetting the safe's tumblers. Turns out that's a useful skill set. But it wasn't just the practical skills that were changing. Anna found herself thinking differently, seeing patterns and connections she would have missed before. The city looked different now, not just a collection of streets and buildings, but a complex web of territories and power structures, of organizations vying for control in ways most people never noticed. She was becoming someone who understood that hidden world. Mrs. Huang noticed the transformation too. You smile more now, she observed one evening while they prepared dinner together. Even with all the danger, you seem happier. Anna considered this while chopping vegetables. I think I am. Is that strange? Not strange. Just honest. Mrs. Huang added garlic to the sizzling pan. Some people are meant for quiet lives. Others need purpose, need to feel like they matter. Nothing wrong with either one. What about you? Which one are you? Mrs. Huang laughed. Me. I raised 4 children and countless gangsters. I've had enough excitement for several lifetimes. Now I cook and make sure everyone eats properly. That's my purpose. You're happy here? Working for, Anna gestured vaguely, encompassing everything Seo Jun's organization represented. Mr. Seo is a good man in a complicated world, Mrs. Huang said firmly. He takes care of people. That matters more than what's legal or illegal. Sometimes the law doesn't protect the people who need it most. Anna thought about that later, lying in bed unable to sleep. She thought about councilmen who tried to do the right thing and got targeted for murder. About systems that were supposed to protect people but left them vulnerable. About how Seo Jun, a criminal by any legal definition, had saved her life when legitimate authorities would have failed her. The world wasn't as simple as she'd once believed. 3 weeks after planting the bug in Hendrik's office, Seo Jun called Anna into his study after midnight. She'd been half asleep, and his knock on her door brought her fully awake with a spike of adrenaline. Get dressed, he said through the door. Something's happened. She found him in the study with June, both of them looking at a laptop screen that showed security footage. Anna's stomach dropped when she recognized the location. Her old apartment building. They found it, she said. 30 minutes ago. 3 of Volkov's men breaking in. Seo Jun replayed the footage. They tore the place apart looking for evidence, for anything that would tell them where you went. Obviously, they found nothing useful. You haven't been there in weeks, and we made sure there was nothing to find. Anna watched strangers ransack the tiny apartment that used to be her whole world. They were efficient, professional, destroying her few possessions with mechanical precision. Not that she'd had much to destroy. Some thrift store furniture, cheap dishes, clothes that were more worn than fashionable. "I'm sorry," Seo Jun said quietly. "I know it wasn't much, but it was yours." "It's fine." And surprisingly, Anna meant it. That apartment, that life, it felt like it belonged to someone else now. What does this mean? That they're looking for my apartment. It means Volkov has expanded his search. He's not just looking at his inner circle anymore. He's considering external possibilities. It's only a matter of time before someone connects the dots. Seo Jun closed the laptop. Which means we need to make our move. What move? The FBI has enough evidence to arrest Volkov now. They've been building the case carefully, making sure it's airtight. Agent Chen called me tonight. They're moving on Monday. Coordinated raids, multiple arrests, the whole operation. He met Anna's eyes. "It's almost over." "Almost," Anna repeated. "But not quite. Volkov will know who gave up the information once he's arrested and sees the evidence against him. He'll put it together. The maid who disappeared, the documents that appeared in FBI hands. Even from prison, he can order retaliation." "So what do we do?" Seo Jun was quiet for a moment. "We make sure he understands that retaliating would be catastrophically stupid. We make it clear that you're under my protection permanently, and that touching you means starting a war he can't win." "How do we do that?" "With a meeting." Seo Jun's smile was cold. "One last conversation before the FBI takes him off the board. A conversation where I explain the new reality to him very clearly." Jun looked skeptical. "That's risky, boss. Volkov's desperate. Desperate men do stupid things. Which is why we'll do it on our terms, in a controlled environment, with overwhelming advantage on our side." Seo Jun's voice was calm, certain. He needs to see Anna. Needs to understand she's real, she's protected, and she's not going anywhere. Anna's heart raced. "You want me at this meeting? I need you there. It's the only way to make the point stick." Seo Jun's expression softened slightly. "I won't force you. If you're not ready." "I'm ready," Anna said before she could overthink it. "When?" "Tomorrow night. Neutral ground, public enough that violence would be stupid. A restaurant I own. We'll have complete control of the environment." He looked at her seriously. "Anna, this is dangerous. More dangerous than anything you've done so far. Volkov is a cornered animal right now. But if we do this right, if we show him that you're untouchable, it ends. For good." Anna thought about the woman who'd run through the rain 3 weeks ago, terrified and powerless. She thought about everything she'd learned, everything she'd become. "Let's end it," she said. The restaurant was elegant and empty. Seo Jun had closed it for the night, citing a private event. Crystal chandeliers, white tablecloths, the kind of place where people celebrated anniversaries and closed business deals. Jun and 3 other men Anna didn't recognize were positioned strategically around the space, visible but not threatening. Yet, Anna wore clothes that Mrs. Huang had selected. A simple black dress, elegant but not flashy, paired with heels that were comfortable enough to run in if necessary. Her hair was pulled back, her makeup minimal. She looked professional, composed, nothing like the terrified maid in a soaked uniform. Seo Jun stood beside her, his hand resting lightly on the small of her back. "You don't have to say anything," he murmured. "Just stand there and let him see you. Let him understand what he's dealing with." "I won't faint," Anna said. "I know." His mouth quirked. "You've come a long way, Anna Chambers." Volkov arrived exactly on time, which suggested he was taking this seriously. He came with 2 bodyguards, matched by Seo Jun's security, a deliberate show of balanced force. The Russian was older than Anna expected, mid-60s, with iron gray hair and a face that looked like it had forgotten how to smile decades ago. His eyes found Anna immediately, and the recognition in them was sharp and cold. "The maid," he said, his accent thick. "I should have killed you that night. Dmitri." Seo Jun's voice was pleasant, almost friendly. "Thank you for coming. Please sit." They arranged themselves at a table in the center of the empty restaurant. Volkov on one side, Seo Jun and Anna on the other, bodyguards positioned close enough to intervene but far enough to maintain the illusion of civility. "I assume this is about Monday," Volkov said, dispensing with pleasantries. "About the FBI's upcoming raids." "You're well informed," Seo Jun replied. "Yes. I wanted to have a conversation before things get complicated." "A conversation?" Volkov's laugh was bitter. "You mean a gloating. You mean rubbing my face in the fact that you destroyed my organization." "I didn't destroy anything. You did that yourself, by being sloppy, by keeping records, by planning to murder a city councilman where your maid could overhear." Seo Jun's voice was calm, factual. "Anna here simply capitalized on your mistakes." Volkov's eyes fixed on Anna with an intensity that made her skin crawl. "You cost me everything." Anna forced herself to meet his gaze, to keep her voice steady. "You were going to kill an innocent man. I stopped you. I don't regret it." Bold words from a woman who should already be dead. "She's alive because I chose to protect her," Seo Jun said, and his voice carried an edge now. "And she'll stay alive because I choose to continue protecting her. That's what we're here to discuss, Dmitri. The new reality." Volkov leaned back in his chair. "And what reality is that?" "The reality where Anna Chambers is untouchable. Where any attempt to harm her, now or after you're released from whatever prison you end up in, will be met with immediate and overwhelming retaliation." Seo Jun's expression was perfectly calm, perfectly cold. "The reality where your organization, what's left of it, understands that she's under my permanent protection. That she's mine." The possessiveness in that last word sent an unexpected shiver through Anna. Volkov studied them both for a long moment. "You're in love with her." Seo Jun didn't answer, which was somehow more telling than any denial would have been. "Fascinating," Volkov said. "The great Seo Jun, brought down by a maid. There's poetry in that." "I'm not brought down. I'm making a strategic decision to protect an asset." But Seo Jun's hand, still resting on Anna's back, pressed slightly closer. "Call it what you want. The end result is the same. She's off limits. Forever. And if I disagree, then your remaining associates in prison will find their lives very difficult. Your assets that the FBI hasn't frozen yet will disappear. Your family back in Moscow will discover that certain information about your activities has reached very interested parties." Seo Jun's smile was razor-sharp. "I'm offering you a deal, Dmitri. Leave Anna alone, and I leave what's left of your world intact. Come after her and I burn it all down." The silence stretched out, taut and dangerous. Anna could hear her own heartbeat, could feel the tension radiating from the men around them. Finally, Volkov nodded. "You win this round, Seo Jun. Enjoy your prize." He stood, his bodyguards moving with him. "But remember, even winners don't stay winning forever." "I'll take my chances," Seo Jun replied. They watched Volkov leave, and only when his car had pulled away from the restaurant did Anna allow herself to breathe fully. "Is it really over?" she asked. "Almost." Seo Jun turned to face her, and the expression in his eyes was something she'd never seen before. Relief mixed with something deeper, warmer. "The FBI arrests him Monday. He'll be convicted. The evidence is overwhelming. And now he knows that coming after you means losing everything he has left." "Yes." "Anna. It's over." Anna felt tears prick her eyes. From relief, from exhaustion, from the overwhelming realization that she'd survived. That she'd actually survived. "Thank you," she whispered. "Don't thank me yet. You still have to decide what comes next." Seo Jun's hand moved from her back to her cheek, a gesture so unexpectedly gentle it made her breath catch. "The deal still stands. New identity, new city, money to start over. You're free to go, Anna. Truly free." And if I don't want to go, then you stay. You work with me. You become part of this world permanently. His thumb brushed her cheekbone. But that's a choice you need to make without pressure, without feeling like you owe me something. Anna looked at him, this dangerous, complicated man who'd saved her life and taught her to save herself, who'd given her purpose when she'd had none, who was looking at her now like she was something precious. I already made my choice, she said. Weeks ago. I'm staying. Anna. I'm staying, Seo Jun. With you. In this world. All of it. She smiled. Try to talk me out of it and I'll just argue. He laughed, a real laugh, warm and genuine, and pulled her close. You're either very brave or very stupid. You've said that before. It's still true. He pressed his forehead against hers. Welcome home, Anna Chambers. Try not to make me regret this. No promises, she said and kissed him. Around them, June and the other men very carefully found reasons to look anywhere else. Don't blink. Subscribe, comment your country. Then watch what happens next. You're not ready. The kiss lasted exactly long enough for Anna to forget they were standing in an empty restaurant with armed guards pretending not to watch. When Seo Jun finally pulled back, his expression held something she'd never seen before. Vulnerability, carefully controlled but there nonetheless. That was unexpected, he said quietly. Was it? Anna's heart hammered, but she didn't step away. You called me yours in front of Volkov. I'm just making it official. Seo Jun's mouth quirked. I said that for strategic reasons. To establish. You said it because you meant it. Anna held his gaze. Don't lie to me now, Seo Jun. Not after everything. He was quiet for a moment, then nodded slowly. You're right. I meant it. His hand was still on her cheek, thumb tracing small circles against her skin. But this complicates things considerably. Everything about my life is already complicated. Fair point. He glanced over at June, who was studying the ceiling with intense fascination. We should go home. Monday's going to be a long day. Home. The words settled into Anna's chest with unexpected warmth. The penthouse had stopped feeling like a prison somewhere along the way and started feeling like exactly that. Home. Monday morning arrived with news coverage that would dominate headlines for weeks. FBI raids across the city, coordinated arrests, footage of Dmitry Volkov being led out of his estate in handcuffs while news helicopters circled overhead. Agent Chen gave a press conference about dismantling a major criminal organization, about justice being served, about protecting the community from organized crime. Anna watched it all from Seo Jun's study, June beside her on the couch, both of them drinking coffee while the world exploded across the television screen. They're calling it the biggest organized crime bust in a decade, June observed. Agent Chen's going to get promoted for this. Good for her, Anna said. She actually cares about doing the right thing. Rare quality in law enforcement. June glanced at her. You know this makes you responsible for putting away a major crime boss, right? That's not nothing. Anna thought about Councilman Torres, who'd survived because she'd overheard something she shouldn't have. About all the illegal operations that were being shut down, the people who wouldn't be exploited or hurt by Volkov's organization anymore. About making a difference that actually mattered. No, she agreed. It's not nothing. Seo Jun appeared in the doorway, phone in hand. It's done. Volkov's been formally charged, racketeering, money laundering, conspiracy to commit murder, about 15 other counts. His lawyer's already talking about a plea deal, but the prosecutors aren't interested. They want the full trial, all the publicity. How long will he be away? Anna asked. If convicted on all counts, 25 to life, minimum. Seo Jun moved behind the couch, his hand coming to rest on Anna's shoulder. It's over, Anna. Actually over. She leaned back into his touch, feeling tension she hadn't realized she'd been carrying finally start to release. So what happens now? Now. Seo Jun's voice held a hint of amusement. Now you become an official member of my organization. We make it legitimate, put you on payroll for one of the businesses as a consultant. You'll need a cover identity for tax purposes, But we keep your real name. No point in hiding anymore. A consultant, Anna repeated. Consulting in what exactly? Security analysis. You'll evaluate vulnerabilities in our operations, help identify risks, use all those observation skills we've been developing. He squeezed her shoulder gently. Legitimate work that happens to also serve our less legitimate interests. Best of both worlds. June stood, stretching. I'm going to check the perimeter, make sure no one's stupid enough to try anything in the aftermath of all this. Congratulations. Anna, you survived your first month in the criminal underworld. That's longer than most people last. After June left, Seo Jun moved around the couch to sit beside Anna. Without the immediate danger hanging over them, the space felt different. More intimate, charged with possibilities that hadn't existed before. Are you sure about this? He asked. About staying about us, all of it? Anna turned to face him fully. Are you having second thoughts? I'm having all the thoughts. Seo Jun ran a hand through his hair, a rare gesture of uncertainty. I don't do relationships, Anna. They're messy, they create vulnerabilities, they give enemies leverage. Everything I've built has been predicated on emotional distance. And yet you kissed me back last night. I did. His eyes met hers, dark and intense. Which suggests I've already made terrible decisions where you're concerned. Terrible decisions like saving my life? Like developing feelings for someone I should have kept at professional distance. Seo Jun's voice was quiet but honest. Like wanting you to stay not because you're useful to the organization, but because I can't imagine this space without you in it anymore. Anna's breath caught. She'd known, on some level, that whatever was developing between them was mutual. But hearing him say it directly, stripped of strategic justification or professional pretense, made it real in a way that terrified and exhilarated her in equal measure. I spent years being invisible, she said. Being someone who didn't matter to anyone, who existed only to serve other people's needs. You see me, Seo Jun. Actually see me. That's worth whatever complications come with it. He reached for her hand, threading his fingers through hers. I see you, he agreed. I see someone who ran for her life and survived. Who learned to fight back. Who looked at a dangerous world and decided to stay instead of running away. He lifted her hand to his lips, pressing a kiss to her knuckles. I see someone remarkable, Anna. And that terrifies me more than any rival organization ever could. Why? Because caring about someone means having something to lose. Seo Jun's thumb traced patterns on her palm. And I've built my entire life around minimizing losses. Anna squeezed his hand. Too late now. You're stuck with me. Apparently. But he was smiling when he said it, and when he kissed her this time, there were no guards pretending not to watch, no strategic considerations, just the two of them and all the complicated feelings neither of them had planned for. The next few weeks fell into a new rhythm. Anna officially joined Seo Jun's organization with a legitimate consulting contract, complete with salary and benefits that made her old maid wages look like pocket change. She kept training with June, kept learning the intricacies of the business, both legal and otherwise, and started taking on small assignments that utilized her particular skills. Security evaluations. Mostly. She'd visit restaurants or offices that Seo Jun owned and identify weaknesses. Where someone could slip in unnoticed, where cameras had blind spots, where employees might be vulnerable to outside pressure. It was fascinating work, using everything she'd learned about being invisible to help protect against people who wanted to exploit that invisibility. Mrs. Huang watched the developing relationship between Anna and Seo Jun with maternal approval, occasionally making pointed comments about how nice it was to see Mr. Seo smile more often, or how the penthouse felt more like a home with Anna in it. You're good for him, she told Anna one afternoon while they prepared lunch together. He's been alone too long, too closed off. You opened something in him. He saved my life, Anna replied, chopping vegetables with the knife skills June had taught her, culinary and otherwise. And you saved his in a different way. Mrs. Huang added spices to the pot with practiced precision. Not all prisons have bars, dear. Some are just empty apartments where successful men live alone and convince themselves they don't need connection. Anna thought about that. About how Seo Jun had built an empire but lived in a beautiful space that felt like a museum until recently. About how he'd surrounded himself with employees and associates but kept everyone at careful distance. About how that distance had started eroding the night she'd collapsed into his arms. They'd both saved each other, she realized. Just in different ways. 6 weeks after Volkov's arrest, Seo Jun took Anna to meet someone important. My brother, he explained during the drive to a restaurant in the Korean district. Daniel. He's legitimate, works in finance, married with 2 kids, doesn't know most of what I do. But he knows enough and he's been asking to meet you. Anna felt nervous in a way she hadn't felt facing actual criminals. What does he know about me? That you're someone important to me. That you work for the organization in a security capacity. That you're the reason Volkov's operation collapsed, though I kept the details vague. Seo Jun glanced at her. Daniel's protective. He'll probably interrogate you about your intentions. Try not to let him intimidate you. More intimidating than you. Completely different kind of intimidating. I'm professionally dangerous. Daniel's personally invested in making sure I don't make terrible life choices. The restaurant was small and family-owned, the kind of place where everyone seemed to know each other. Daniel was already there, younger than Seo Jun by a few years, with similar features but softer edges, like he'd lived a gentler life. His wife Jennifer was blonde and warm, immediately pulling Anna into a hug like they were already family. Thank God, Jennifer said. We were starting to think Seo Jun was going to be alone forever, married to his work. You're literally an answer to prayer. Daniel shot his brother an amused look. She's direct. I like her already. Over lunch, which was delicious and involved far more courses than Anna expected, Daniel asked careful questions about how they'd met, about Anna's background, about her plans. Nothing invasive, just the gentle probing of someone who cared deeply about his brother's well-being. So you work in security consulting, Daniel said. That's how you two connected. Something like that. Anna glanced at Seo Jun, who gave her a small nod of permission to share what felt comfortable. I was in a dangerous situation. Your brother helped me. Then he offered me a job using skills I didn't know I had. Dangerous situation, Daniel repeated. That's a euphemism if I've ever heard one. I don't ask for details about what my brother does, Jennifer interjected diplomatically. But I'm glad you found each other, however it happened. He seems happier than I've seen him in years. Seo Jun's hand found Anna's under the table, fingers intertwining. I am happier, he said simply. The admission, said so plainly in front of his family, made Anna's chest tight with emotion. This man who'd built walls around himself was letting them down, piece by piece, and trusting her to be gentle with what she found underneath. After lunch, Daniel pulled Anna aside while Seo Jun was paying the bill. He cares about you, Daniel said quietly. More than he's cared about anyone in a very long time. That makes you important to more than just him. You're important to our family now. So I need to know, are you planning to stay? Or is this temporary? Anna met his eyes directly. I'm staying. For as long as he'll have me. Daniel studied her face, then nodded slowly. Good. Because if you hurt him, I'll be very disappointed. And disappointment from the legitimate brother is somehow worse than anything the criminal brother could do. Despite the seriousness of the conversation, Anna laughed. I believe you. Good. Daniel's expression softened. Welcome to the family, Anna. Try to keep him out of too much trouble. No promises, she said, echoing the words she'd said to Seo Jun weeks ago. That night, back at the penthouse, Anna and Seo Jun stood at the floor-to-ceiling windows watching the city lights. His arms were wrapped around her from behind, his chin resting on her shoulder, and for the first time since the night she'd run through the rain, Anna felt completely at peace. Your brother's nice, she said. His family, too. They liked you. Daniel told me so after you left. Said you were good for me. Seo Jun's breath was warm against her neck. He's right. Mrs. Huang said something similar. That I opened something in you. You did. Seo Jun turned her in his arms so they were facing each other. I spent years building walls, Anna. Keeping people at distance because distance meant safety. And then you collapsed into my arms asking for help, and somehow all those walls started crumbling. Do you regret it? Not even a little. He kissed her forehead, then her nose, then her lips. Gentle kisses that felt like promises. You were right that night at the restaurant. When you said I called you mine because I meant it. I did mean it. I do mean it. Anna's hands came up to frame his face. Then say it again. Without the strategic justification. Seo Jun's eyes held hers, dark and intense and completely honest. You're mine, Anna Chambers. And I'm yours. However this unconventional relationship works, whatever complications come with it, I'm choosing it. I'm choosing you. I'm choosing you too, Anna whispered. My dangerous, complicated, surprisingly romantic crime boss. He laughed against her lips. Romantic. I threatened to destroy Volkov's entire world if he touched you. Exactly. Very romantic. They kissed again, deeper this time, and Anna felt something settle into place, a sense of belonging she'd never experienced before. Not just in this space, but with this person. They'd both been alone in different ways. Both built protections that kept the world at bay. And somehow, impossibly, they'd found each other and decided that being vulnerable together was worth the risk. Outside the windows, the city continued its endless motion, a place of danger and opportunity, of criminal empires and ordinary lives intersecting in ways most people never noticed. Anna had stumbled into that hidden world by accident, running for her life with nothing but a desperate plea for help. She'd found safety. She'd found purpose. She'd found herself. And along the way, she'd found love in the last place she'd expected to look, in the arms of a man who'd caught her when she fell and taught her to stand on her own. Stay with me, Seo Jun murmured against her hair. Not as an employee or an asset or someone under my protection. Stay with me as my partner. In all of this. Anna pulled back just enough to meet his eyes. Partners in crime? Partners in everything. His smile was soft, genuine, completely unguarded. What do you say, Anna? Ready for the rest of this adventure. She thought about the woman she'd been, invisible, powerless, going through motions of a life that felt half-lived. She thought about everything she'd survived, everything she'd learned, everything she'd become. I'm ready, she said. Let's see what comes next. And as Seo Jun kissed her again, as the city sparkled below them and the future stretched out uncertain but promising, Anna realized something fundamental had shifted. She was no longer running from danger or just surviving it. She was living. Fully, completely, dangerously alive. And there was nowhere else she'd rather be. Click on that subscribe button now. Do IT. Comment where you're watching if you've come this far. 3 months later, Anna had almost forgotten what normal fear felt like. Not that her life was without danger. Working for Seo Jun's organization meant constantly navigating the gray areas between legal and illegal, always watching for threats, always thinking 3 moves ahead. But it was manageable danger, calculated risk. The kind she'd learned to handle. Until the morning everything changed. She woke to find Seo Jun's side of the bed empty, which wasn't unusual. He often rose before dawn to handle business that required privacy. But something felt off. The apartment was too quiet, the kind of silence that pressed against her ears like a warning. Anna dressed quickly and found Mrs. Huang in the kitchen, her usual cheerful demeanor replaced by tight-lipped concern. Where is he? Anna asked. Emergency meeting. Downtown. Mrs. Huang's hands were unsteady as she poured coffee. June went with him. They left 2 hours ago. What kind of emergency? Before Mrs. Huang could answer, Anna's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number, just 3 words. Check the news. Anna's blood ran cold. She grabbed the tablet from the counter and pulled up the local news site. The headline made her stomach drop. Federal agent found dead. FBI investigates possible retaliation in Volkov case. Asterisk asterisk. She read the article with growing dread. Agent Sarah Chen, the FBI agent Seo Jun had been feeding information to, the one who'd built the case against Volkov, had been found dead in her home. Early reports suggested assassination. Professional hit. The FBI was investigating possible connections to the Volkov prosecution. No, Anna whispered. No, no, no. Her phone rang. Seo Jun's number. She answered before the first ring finished. Where are you? Still downtown. Anna listened carefully. His voice was controlled but urgent. Chen's death wasn't random. Someone's tying up loose ends, eliminating everyone connected to Volkov's conviction. But Volkov's in prison. Volkov's in prison, but his organization isn't completely dismantled. We thought we'd neutralized the threat, but we were wrong. Seo Jun's voice dropped lower. Chen had a partner on the investigation. Agent Marcus Webb. He was found dead this morning too. They're systematically eliminating everyone who built the case. Anna's hand shook. I helped build the case. I'm the one who got them the evidence. I know. That's why you need to leave. No. Jun's sending a car. It'll be there in 5 minutes. Pack only essentials. Mrs. Huang will help you. Leave. Seo Jun, I'm not running. This isn't running, it's surviving. His voice was hard now, the tone he used when giving orders that weren't negotiable. Whoever's behind this knows about you, Anna. They have to. You're the original source, the person who started everything. You're the biggest loose end of all. Then we fight back. Together. Like we always do. Not this time. Something in Seo Jun's voice made her chest tighten. Anna, I need you safe. I need to know you're protected while I handle this. Please. Trust me. She wanted to argue, wanted to insist on staying by his side. But she'd learned over the past 3 months to recognize when Seo Jun was scared, truly scared, and he was scared now. Not for himself, but for her. Okay, she said quietly. Where am I going? Safe house outside the city. Jun knows the location. Stay there until I tell you it's clear. He paused. I love you, Anna. Remember that. The line went dead before she could respond. Mrs. Huang was already pulling out a travel bag, moving with efficient urgency. Come on, dear. We need to pack. Anna moved through the penthouse in a daze, grabbing clothes and essentials while her mind raced. Something about this felt wrong. Not the danger itself, but the way it was unfolding. Too fast, too coordinated, too much like a trap closing. The car arrived exactly on time. Not Jun driving, but another member of Seo Jun's security team, a man Anna recognized from the restaurant meeting with Volkov. His name was Marcus, and he'd always been professional competent. He smiled when she got in the car. Don't worry, Ms. Chambers. We'll have you somewhere safe in no time. They drove through morning traffic, heading toward the outskirts of the city. Anna watched the familiar streets give way to industrial areas, then to empty lots and abandoned warehouses. The safe house was supposed to be in a residential neighborhood outside the city limits. Quiet, normal, unremarkable. This wasn't the right direction. Marcus, Anna said carefully. Where exactly are we going? The safe house. Mr. Seo's orders. This isn't the way to the suburbs. Marcus's eyes met hers in the rearview mirror, and Anna saw it, the cold calculation, the predatory assessment. Her training with Jun kicked in immediately, every instinct screaming danger. You're right, Marcus said calmly. It's not. Anna's hand moved toward the door handle, but the locks clicked, centralized control, no way to open them from inside. She reached for her phone, but Marcus held up a small device that emitted a high-pitched whine. Signal jammer. I wouldn't try anything, he said pleasantly. There are 3 other cars following us. All friends of Mr. Volkov's. Well, friends of his organization. He's still in prison, of course, but his people are very loyal. Anna's mind raced through options, all of them bad. She was trapped in a moving vehicle with someone who'd been inside Seo Jun's organization the entire time. A mole. A plant. Someone they'd trusted. Seo Jun will kill you for this, she said. Maybe. If he survives the morning. Marcus turned down a side street toward a warehouse district. You see, while you were being driven here, Mr. CO was having his emergency meeting. A meeting that was, shall we say, arranged. He's walking into the same trap you are, just in a different location. Volkov's people are very thorough about tying up loose ends. Anna felt ice in her veins. You're lying. Am I? Check your messages. Oh wait, you can't. Signals jammed. Marcus pulled into an empty warehouse parking lot. Don't take it personally, Ms. Chambers. This is just business. You cost some very powerful people a lot of money and respect. They want that paid back in blood. The car stopped. 3 other vehicles pulled in around them, boxing her in. Men emerged, professionals, armed, moving with coordinated precision. Anna's training kicked in. June's voice in her head. Asterisk, when you can't win, survive. When you can't survive, make them regret it. Asterisk. She waited until Marcus opened her door, playing docile and terrified, which wasn't entirely an act. The moment he reached for her arm, she moved. Everything June had taught her, every dirty trick CO June had shown her about exploiting expectations. Her elbow caught Marcus in the throat. His grip loosened, and she drove her knee into his stomach, then ran. She didn't get far, 3 steps before someone tackled her from behind. But she'd made her point. She wasn't going quietly. Feisty, one of the men said, hauling her to her feet. Volkov's people said you'd be scared. Guess the crime boss taught you some tricks. They dragged her toward the warehouse. Anna fought every step, making them work for it, buying time she wasn't sure mattered. Inside, the space was empty except for a few chairs and harsh industrial lighting. The kind of place where bad things happened and no one heard you scream. Her phone, still in her pocket despite the jammer, vibrated. Someone was trying to reach her. CO June, probably, realizing something was wrong. If he was still alive to realize it. One of the men pulled out her phone, glanced at the screen, and smiled. 15 missed calls from lover boy. Guess he figured it out. He tossed the phone to Marcus. Should we answer? Let him listen. No, a new voice said from the warehouse entrance. That would be unprofessional. Anna's head snapped up. The man walking toward them was elegant, expensive suit, moving with the authority of someone used to being obeyed. She didn't recognize him, but she recognized the type, high-level organization, someone who gave orders rather than following them. Ms. Chambers, the man said pleasantly. I'm Viktor Kozlov. I worked with Dmitry Volkov for many years. When he went to prison because of you, his operations fell to me. And I take my responsibilities very seriously. Then you should know CO June will destroy you for this, Anna said, proud that her voice stayed steady. Perhaps. If he survives the next hour. Kozlov checked his watch. Right about now, he should be realizing that his emergency meeting was fabricated. That several of his most trusted people aren't who he thought they were. That he's been compromised at every level. Anna's heart hammered. You're bluffing. Am I? Kozlov smiled. I suppose we'll find out. But either way, you won't be around to see the outcome. Dmitry sends his regards from prison. He wanted me to tell you that he admires your courage, even as he orders your death. The men holding Anna tightened their grip. This was it, the moment where all her training, all her survival instincts, would either save her or fail her completely. Then gunfire erupted outside the warehouse. Everyone froze. More gunfire, shouting, the sounds of a firefight that was getting closer. Kozlov's expression shifted from confident to alarmed in seconds. Impossible, he muttered. We had teams watching. The warehouse door exploded inward. June came through first, gun raised, moving with lethal efficiency. Behind him, more of CO June's actual loyal people, and behind them, CO June himself, face cold with controlled fury, weapon in hand. Let her go, he said quietly. Now. The next 30 seconds were chaos. Anna dropped as the men holding her made the fatal mistake of reaching for weapons instead of surrendering. Gunfire, movement. Her training taking over as she rolled behind cover. June reached her, pulling her up, checking her for injuries with practiced efficiency. You okay? Been better, Anna gasped. When the shooting stopped, 3 of Kozlov's men were down. Marcus was on his knees, hands behind his head. Kozlov himself stood frozen, facing Seo-jun across the warehouse floor. "You're supposed to be dead," Kozlov said, genuine confusion in his voice. "I'm very hard to kill." Seo-jun's gun never wavered. "You made 2 mistakes, Victor. First, you assumed I wouldn't notice when my own people started acting strange. Second, you touched something that belongs to me. She's just a woman. She's everything." Seo-jun's voice was deadly calm. "And you were dead the moment you put her in that car." Anna watched Seo-jun's finger tighten on the trigger. Watched Kozlov realize he'd miscalculated everything. Watched justice about to be served in the most direct way possible. Then her phone, still on the floor where Marcus had dropped it, rang. The sound cut through the tension like a knife. Seo-jun's eyes flicked to it. So did everyone else's. Jun picked it up, looked at the screen, and his face went pale. "Boss, you need to see this." Seo-jun moved to take the phone, keeping his gun trained on Kozlov. He looked at whatever was on the screen, and Anna watched his expression shift from fury to something else. Something that looked like fear. "What?" Anna asked. "What is it?" Seo-jun turned the phone toward her. A text message, from another unknown number. Just an image, a photograph, of Agent Sarah Chen. Alive. Sitting at a table across from Dmitry Volkov. In prison. Both of them smiling. Below the photo, one line of text. "Did you really think it was over?" The warehouse went silent. Anna felt the floor tilt beneath her, her understanding of the past 3 months fragmenting and reorganizing into a new, terrible pattern. Chen wasn't dead. The news reports were fake. Everything that had happened this morning, the emergency, the betrayal, the trap, all of it was orchestrated. But by whom? For what purpose? Seo-jun's phone rang now. He answered it on speaker, his expression carved from stone. "Hello, Seo-jun." Chen's voice, clear and alive and amused. "Surprise. What is this?" Seo-jun's voice was dangerously quiet. "This is me reminding you that you're not as smart as you think you are. That your organization has been compromised for months. That everyone you trust has a price." Chen laughed softly. "Did you really think Volkov would just accept prison? That I was some idealistic agent who actually cared about justice?" Anna grabbed Jun's arm for support. This wasn't possible. Chen had been their ally, had built the case, had promised. "The case was real," Chen continued, reading their thoughts from miles away. "The arrests were real. Volkov really is in prison. But that was always part of the plan. Consolidate his power, eliminate competitors, put him somewhere safe while his organization restructures under new management. My management." "You're insane," Anna said. "I'm practical. And rich. Very, very rich, thanks to Volkov's gratitude." Chen's voice turned serious. "Here's what happens next. You and Anna disappear. Leave the city, leave the country, leave your entire operation behind. Or I release information, real, documented, prosecutable information, that puts you both in cells next to Volkov. Your choice." The line went dead. Anna looked at Seo-jun, at Jun, at the warehouse full of bodies and betrayal and questions that had no good answers. Everything they'd built, everything they'd survived, all of it was based on a foundation that had been rotting underneath them the whole time. "What do we do?" she whispered. Seo-jun's eyes met hers, and in them she saw calculation, fury, and something else, determination. "We do what we always do," he said quietly. "We survive. We adapt. We fight back." Against a corrupt FBI agent and a criminal organization working together? Against whoever thinks they can threaten what's mine. Seo-jun pulled her close, his lips brushing her forehead. "This isn't over, Anna. It's just a different game now. Can we win?" He smiled, and it was sharp and dangerous and completely honest. "I don't know. But I know we're going to try." Behind them, Kozlov laughed, the sound bitter and knowing. "You're both dead. You just don't know it yet." Seo-jun turned to look at him. "Maybe. But you definitely are. The gunshot echoed through the warehouse. June moved to handle the aftermath. The bodies, the cleanup, the careful erasure of what had happened here. Anna stood in Seo Jun's arms, her mind racing through implications and possibilities and the terrifying realization that everything was different now. They'd thought they'd won. They'd thought they were safe. They'd been wrong. We need to leave, Seo Jun said. Now. Regroup somewhere Chen can't find us. Figure out who we can actually trust. Build a new plan. And then we take down a corrupt federal agent and dismantle whatever alliance she's built with Volkov's people. He said it like it was simple, like it was just another problem to solve. It won't be easy. It might not even be possible. But we're not running, Anna. We're not giving up everything we've built. Anna thought about the woman she'd been 4 months ago. Powerless, invisible, running through the rain with nothing but a desperate plea for help. She thought about everything she'd survived since then, every impossible situation she'd navigated. She'd asked for help once, and it had changed her entire life. Now she was being asked to trust that same man, the dangerous, complicated, surprisingly vulnerable crime boss who'd caught her when she fell, to somehow survive an impossible situation one more time. Okay, she said. Where do we start? Seo Jun's smile was fierce and slightly unhinged. By reminding everyone who forgot that I don't lose. Ever. As they walked out of the warehouse into uncertain daylight, leaving behind bodies and betrayals and a future that suddenly looked very different than it had this morning, Anna realized something fundamental. She'd stopped running months ago. She'd learned to fight instead. And now, with enemies on all sides and danger closing in, she was going to prove that the scared maid who'd collapsed into a stranger's arms had become someone much more dangerous. Someone who didn't give up. Someone who didn't back down. Someone who, standing beside the man she loved, would face whatever came next with eyes wide open and weapons ready. The game wasn't over. It was just entering a new, deadlier round. And somewhere in the shadows of the city, Sarah Chen was probably smiling, thinking she'd won. She was about to learn how badly she'd miscalculated. The end. Or is it? Asterisk. Anna and Seo Jun disappeared into the city that afternoon, leaving behind everything they'd built. Somewhere in a prison cell, Dmitry Volkov smiled. Somewhere in a federal office, Sarah Chen made plans. And somewhere in the hidden spaces between legal and illegal, between survival and victory, two people who'd found each other in the darkest circumstances prepared for a war that would determine whether love and loyalty could triumph over corruption and power. Asterisk. What happens next? That's a story for another time. Asterisk. But one thing is certain. Anna Chambers was done being anyone's victim. And Seo Jun was done playing by anyone's rules but his own. Asterisk. The city was about to learn what happened when you backed dangerous people into corners. It was about to get very bloody.